My name is Tess Wagner, and I'm an ecological restoration practitioner, a landscape designer, and in my spare time a mixed media artist, and I'm based in Patagonia, Arizona. I'm the watershed restoration program manager for a nonprofit, and essentially what that entails is managing a number of ecological restoration projects in wildlands in a couple of the Sky Island mountain ranges in southern Arizona. And the restoration work we do, it focuses on restoring function to landscapes that have been degraded due to human interference. And so I think a lot about landscapes and ecological health and the flow of water and materials and energy across a landscape. Because understanding all of that is such a big part of restoration, and it's critical to understand for my job. I spend a lot of time out of doors. I do a lot of hiking and camping and backpacking, and whenever I'm doing these things I have a camera and a little sound recorder in my bag, and I record a lot of things while I'm out and about. I'm really interested in the rhythm of nature and different parts of nature, so I love to record things that are changing. Things like wind. I like to record how it sounds and how it looks moving through trees or through grasses. I record a lot of storms and rivers and water moving through landscapes, insects and birds, other wildlife. I record all these nature sounds and visuals because I think they're incredibly beautiful. I've always been fascinated by the earth and nature and ecology, and I don't think that there's anything I find more inspirational or beautiful than the earth and the life it supports and everything that makes it up. So it's my main inspiration, I would say, for the artwork that I create, even if it's not apparent, it's there. I really like to take sound clips that I've taken on my hikes, and I like to bring them into a Logic session and structure an entire piece of music around them. So maybe I structure an entire piece of music around wind blowing through the trees, or a thunderstorm, or crickets. And I let the sounds of nature guide where it goes. The pacing and the rhythm of the things I put together is often abstract seeming, but it's really based on these rhythms that I find in nature and that I record and take home with me. Art and music have been a large part of my life for as long as I can remember, particularly music. But something really changed for me when I began combining music and art with computers and software that is incredibly powerful creatively and really expands the limits of what you can do. I've spent a lot of time in Photoshop, and it's the main way that I create visual art now. Sometimes I will hand draw something in pen, and then I'll bring it into Photoshop and color it and edit it. Or sometimes I'll just draw something right in Photoshop. And I have a little drawing tablet, so it's like drawing on paper, but I have all the creative possibilities of Photoshop at my fingertips. So it's this really wonderful combination of the humanity and the emotion you get from human gestures on a paper. It's a combination of that with the limitless creativity you can really have in Photoshop. I created my first audiovisual work about 1.5 years ago, which is what is going to be shown for this. And I created it while I was in grad school, finishing up my degree in landscape architecture. I took a multimedia composition class at the music school with Dr. He at the University of Arizona, and it really opened up my eyes and to the possibilities of what can be done when you combine music and visual art. It was really exciting because it was this coming together of two forms of art that I really loved, but I never even thought that I could combine them through, the creation of something like a video. That had just never occurred to me. So it was really exciting to explore how to do this. I built off of existing techniques I had, both in producing music as well as doing digital artwork in Photoshop. So the piece that you see today, there's an ocean scene in it that comes back in different forms at multiple times. And I really wanted to animate an ocean. I thought it would be really beautiful to have a watercolor image of an ocean and to animate it. So I painted sort of this ocean scene in Photoshop. I had about 37 layers or so, with different colors and strokes on each of the layers. Then I took those 37 layers and I brought them all into After Effects, and I just began messing around and manipulating them independently until I had something that looked like water, like an ocean that was kind of undulating and, had gentle waves. And then I, just kept distorting it from there, and it has various distorted iterations throughout the piece. But it was a really exciting expansion of the workflow that I developed for Photoshop, using a tablet and using hundreds at times of different layers to be able to have complete control over what you're doing. I'm really interested in combining the power of creative software and computing and recent technology with the humanity and emotion of traditional music and art forms. I think combining the two, the possibilities are really limitless. My current project is I am figuring out how to have environmental data that I collect using an Arduino, how to have that sent to my computer and then scaled to the voltage of an analog synthesizer that I have, and use that voltage as a control voltage to adjust different parameters on the synthesizer. So I think essentially what I want to do is I want to control different variables of a synthesizer using nature data, using data I collect. It could be anything from soil moisture to temperature to humidity to sunlight levels. And this data could be, sped up or slowed down or stretched, and then I can control different parameters of my synthesizer using nature, using the rhythms of nature, which I think is really exciting. And I'm really excited to explore that more and play around with that and create more artwork with that. Thank you for listening to me ramble about art and music and technology and nature. I hope it was interesting. Yeah, thank you.